Man. Knicks family, what's popping with you? It's your boy, man. Appreciate you guys for being here. And I know down at the bottom it says live calling show. It's actually, it is a live calling show still, but, you know, we're talking about at least a little bit of news from the New York Knicks. We're going to talk about Mike Woodson. We talked about him before. We're going to talk about him again. You know what I'm saying? Me and my man Isaiah did a show on Sportscaster earlier today. We got a nice little hashtag for you. We're going to talk about that. And I got Isaiah right here in the chat. I got my man. Got Isaiah in the chat. We got Nate in the chat. And, you know, it's all good.
Isaiah,
and some of you guys, you know, I do want to let you guys know, if you're going to get in the chat, you still use the whereby.com, and then I'm going to tell you where to go after that. All right? But anyway, we got to go ahead and get this thing on the move, man. Listen, a couple weeks ago, I said to you guys, what if the Knicks look at Mike Woodson? How would you feel about that? You know, how would you feel about Mike Woodson? And, you know, some people were okay. Some people were not okay. Some people were wondering why I was bringing up Mike Woodson's name. Right? And some people are probably going to say now, well, oh, maybe somebody told you something. No, not really. You know, it was just something that I thought about. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Mike Woodson. Nate, you start, man. Tell me what you think. If the Knicks interview Mike Woodson, is it truly a possibility?
It's always a possibility because he did coach the Knicks before, and they arguably had one of the best years in the Knicks in a long time under Woodson. But let's be honest, it was a veteran team that Woodson was coaching. This one would be complete opposite. It would be more of a younger team. I don't know how those two would mix together. I think Woodson's a good coach, defensive-minded, real even-keel guy. I don't know if he's somebody who I would say that's going to come in day one and really put a stamp on this team. And for me, that's what I really want for this team more than anything, is I want a coach to come in and put a stamp on this team with a philosophy, identity, what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and go for it. And we didn't see that with Thibodeau. Thibodeau, he paraded around and, you know, played around and said, "Oh, we'll see what the players we have and how we'll figure it out." No, you don't do it that way. You set the standard early on and the expectations of what you want as the coach, and you give it to your players, and your players either buy into it or you get them or you remove them or get some other players. I don't know if Woodson's that type of guy. I you know me, I'm a Tibbs fan. I want Tibbs more than anything. I think he'll come in day one and put his stamp on this team and give the philosophy of what this team's going to be about. I would put Woodson on our staff. You know, he's assistant right now with the Clippers, right? Or is it?
No,
Clippers, right?
I don't think he is. I don't think he has a job right now.
Really? I thought he was
Sim, he works with the Clippers, Sim.
It's
Yeah,
just I thought he was let go by the Clippers.
If he's not with the Clippers, he's with the Suns. He's either with the Clippers or the Suns. If I believe. Let me look right now. I can look right now.
I swear I thought he was with the Clippers staff. He's under Doc.
I'll let you know right now. Hold on.
Yeah, I thought that Mike Woodson was let go by the Clippers. That's what I thought.
Well, even if he is, I mean, whoever coach you're going to bring on.
He doesn't have a job right now. Never mind.
So he's not.
He was let go in 2018.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. He's not working right now.
Okay. I mean, I'd bring him in as an assistant. I mean, I think even let's say if it is Tibbs, you know, having Woodson on your staff's not going to be a bad thing. You know, he's a defensive-minded guy. I just don't. I don't believe the idea that you had a coach before and he's going to come back and coach again. Same team. I don't see that happening. I mean,
okay.
Like I said, it was a veteran. It was a veteran team that he coached, and this will be a young team with a lot of inexperience and really no leader. It'd be interesting. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I'd probably take him over Atkinson.
Oh my gosh, Nate.
I don't like Atkinson, man. I really don't. I think there's a lot of story behind why he left Brooklyn or what happened with Brooklyn, man, that they're not saying.
Like
I
what?
just think that's
stories like what? Like stories like what? That's what I want to know.
Maybe he didn't get along with the players, or I mean, the whole thing with Kyrie. I get Kyrie is a problem too, but KD didn't really step up for Atkinson either. Hell, none of his players.
But
really
that's because KD is spineless. That's because KD is spineless.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah, hold on. Let's get one thing straight. And first of all, shout out to my man Guillermo, because he's been saying this about Kyrie Irving. This dude is a cancer. He's a cancer. Look at the correlation. I hate every.
He's Melo 2.0.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, this headphone's acting funny. So Atkinson got thrown under the bus. Kyrie Irving and KD wanted him out. If you watch how the Nets play last year, you saw that the offense ran a lot better when Kyrie Irving actually was sitting down, and they played Dinwiddie and they played Jared Allen. And then there was a whole thing between Jared Allen and DJ, and DJ's Kyrie Irving's boy. So there was a lot of machinations going on behind the scenes where Kyrie Irving was, as he usually does, creates discord. So to me, give me Atkinson, because I now they say that there's things that he has to work on, some of his X's and O's, but give me a guy who can at least develop players the way he did. Because again, he made LeVert, whose stats aren't that great when you look at it, but he was hurt as well last year. But he had flashes where it's like, oh, LeVert might be, one of these really good wing players. Dinwiddie looked really good in his system. D'Angelo Russell looked really good in his system. Jared Allen.
But what's his identity as a coach?
High pick and roll offense. Pass out to the guy at the perimeter. Develop the point guards. Give him space. Create certain plays to make plays easier for him. That's why Dinwiddie was one of the best pick and roll point guards last year or last season, whatever. So he has a discernible identity. There's things that he work on, but when you talk about personal or individual development, I take that any day versus some of these retreads who, let's be honest, we don't know if Thibodeau is going to change his ways from the things that may have been his flaws in the other teams. And Woodson, why are we going back to Woodson? I'm confused as to why we're going back to Woodson. We already talked about how he needs a lot of talent around him. And even with a lot of talent, he can underachieve. Even though what he did with the Hawks, I ain't hating. Did a good job with the Hawks. Ain't hating on that. But again, when you look at the talent on the Hawks, the fact that certain players like Al Horford coming from Florida, I understand he was young, but it's like he only could get better once Joe Johnson left. You know what I mean? So we've seen Mike Woodson. I'm good on him. Let's get a guy like Atkinson, who got screwed over with the Nets. You know what I mean? He did a lot with little, man. I'm not.
Yeah, I agree with you about Kenny Atkinson, right? Kenny Atkinson is my guy, but I do disagree about Mike Woodson. I think that Mike Woodson took that Atlanta Hawks team from nothing to something, the same way Kenny Atkinson did with the Nets.
Oh, I'm sorry, my dog.
You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to chime in and say that. I'll
just pose this question. Let me just pose this question to Sim real quick. Would you say the talent on that Nets team that went to the playoffs is better than the talent on a Hawks team that went to the playoffs? The first Hawks team, the first time they went to the playoffs.
Not at all.
Joe Johnson,
man.
That's what I'm saying.
So are you telling me that D'Angelo Russell that Joe Johnson is hands down, we know better than D'Angelo Russell?
You're damn right. Hell, what, Sim?
I mean, you don't know at that point in their career. Hold on. At that point in his career, you know hands down at that point in Joe Johnson's career that he was better than D'Angelo Russell at this point in D'Angelo Russell's career.
He was a hot commodity with the Suns. That's why.
I know he was a hot commodity with the Suns.
The owner was
really good with the Hawks.
D'Angelo Russell did not show as much as he did with the Lakers as Joe Johnson did with the Suns. That's why everybody's like, yo, dude, this dude Joe Johnson, he's going to be a problem. And that's why then when he was like, damn, like he could have said that the Suns team, but if there's some way to keep, like he was a problem and you saw it.
I know he was. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm talking about at that point in their career. Right? Because Joe Johnson was in his 6th year. He was in his 6th year, so he's a little bit older. At that point.
You talking about when they went to the playoffs versus, okay, sorry. So I'm thinking of like when they first got traded or. I'm talking
about Joe Johnson when he was on the Atlanta Hawks, right? I'm talking about in the beginning. So in 2007, 2008, they were 37-45. They went to the first round of the playoffs, right? Joe Johnson at that time, in that season, he averaged in that season, what year did I say?
2007-8, you said?
2007, 2008, he was 21 points per game, 5.8 assists per game, 4.5 rebounds per game. What was D'Angelo Russell doing? What was D'Angelo Russell doing the year that the Brooklyn Nets went to the playoffs? The Brooklyn Hawks, the Brooklyn Nets.
That's a Negro.
It's not the ugliest name. It sounds like a high school team. So, all right, the year that they went to the playoffs, he averaged 21.1 points, 7 assists.
Wasn't he an All-Star that year?
Yeah, but he also played a different position though.
I know. I mean, look, Joe Johnson shot 43% from the field. What did D'Angelo Russell shoot that season?
He shot 43.
43. Joe Johnson shot 38% from 3. What did D'Angelo Russell shoot?
37.
So it's about the same. I know we're talking about one player, but we're talking about the main player on the team. Just looking at who they had on their teams. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, because I just think that those years with the Hawks, I mean, Mike Woodson took them guys from nothing to something.
Yeah.
Nah,
Mike Woodson has a good track.
I give him.
He's take teams and made them win.
Now the problem was he couldn't get them over the top.
Yeah,
fair enough, and I wouldn't kill him on that. He did get beat by the Celtics, right? So it's like you got beat by the Celtics. They took it to 7 games the first round. I don't think they ever got out of the first round. Those Hawks teams. But
well, look at the Knicks. They ran the buzzsaw with the
Joe
Pacers.
Johnson was a premier shoot, and I like D'Angelo Russell's talent, but Joe Johnson was I wouldn't say ultra dominant, but if you're talking about a level below the Kobe's and he was like there.
I give him that. He was
like a Booker. He's like a young Booker.
Nah, he's not a young Booker. But anyway,
I don't know, man. I like Joe Johnson. I like Joe Johnson, and I always thought Joe Johnson was really good. Where compared to where was he in his career at that point to where D'Angelo Russell is? I mean, I don't know if it's apples to oranges or not. But still got to see. Still got to see what D'Angelo Russell is going to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But look, Mike Woodson took them from being. Let me see. When Mike Woodson took over in 2004, 2005.
I think 2005.
2004, 2005 season, they were 13-69. The following season, they were 26.
If you want to bring him on the staff with Atkinson
hold up. The following season, they were 26-56. 2006, 2007, they were 30-52. 2007, 2008, 37-45. Then they were 47-35. Then they were 53-29, and he was let go after the 53-29 season. Then the season after, and then they hired Coach Larry Drew. He led them to being 44-38, and then they were 40-26 under Larry Drew, and then they were 44-38 under Larry Drew, and then they were 38-44 under Mike Budenholzer. And then Mike Budenholzer,
after 50 wins. Wow.
Yeah. And then Mike Budenholzer started his rise, and he actually led them in 2014 and 15 to being 16-22. Mike Budenholzer.
But how the hell do you get let go?
So Sim, I will say this though, Sim. So when it comes to this, is where I'm more on your side because I agree that when it comes to Mike Woodson's record, you just listed it and it speaks for itself. Each year they literally got better, and then when he stopped being a coach, they got worse. So I'm not really. If we did pick again, Mike Woodson is not my favorite candidate. It's Kenny Atkinson. It's gonna be Kenny Atkinson until they hire him. Hopefully they do. But I would if it's Mike Woodson versus Tom Thibodeau, that's a toss up for me. But at least I know with Mike Woodson, he has worked with the young players, and he has worked with teams. He has worked with teams that came from nothing. Like you just said, when he got hired, there were 13 wins.
But he's also been more successful with veteran teams than the young team Knicks that he's going to inherit if he does become a coach.
But that doesn't make sense. No, Nate, that doesn't make sense because that's the same team. The 13-win team is the same team. He got younger players each year.
Well, he added obviously new players. You know, they continue to add talent. I mean, that's going to be with any coach in any team.
But it wasn't a heavy veteran teams.
The team that he had with the Hawks, so when he first started out, I think was, even though they were terrible, you still saw. I think they had more talent than the Knicks. Like just now, regardless of how young talent. I mean,
that team was terrible, bro.
I'm agreeing with that Hawks team was terrible, but we've looked at some young guys on this Knicks team. And,
Josh Smith, right?
You got to add talent to this team as well. Because
you do. But I mean, they had some. I mean, they had a few guys. You know, we look at 2004, 2005. You know, they had
Josh Smith.
Listen, they had an old Kenny Anderson. We talked about this before. An old Kenny Anderson, right? They had Josh. They had Josh Childress. He was a rookie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay. Who else did they have? They had Jason Collier, Tony Delk. They had Boris Diaw. He was young.
What team are you talking about? You talking about the Hawks?
That's a young boy's deal. I didn't even know he played
for the Hawks. This is the Hawks team that was 13-69.
Didn't they have Josh Smith too?
All right, they had.
Josh Smith came in like 06.
No, they had Josh Smith. He was a rookie.
They had Josh Smith.
Was?
They had Tom Gugliotta. They had Al Harrington.
Wow.
They had Royal Ivy. They had Tyrone Lue, Dante Smith, Josh Smith, Michael Stewart.
A lot of coaches on there.
Antoine Walker was on the team.
Dang.
They had Kevin Willis. Kevin Willis was still in the league at that time. Kevin Willis.
Man, you know them Hawks players only was caring about those strip clubs out there because you know they ain't caring about players.
That team was pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
That team was pretty bad.
The Knicks like now though. I mean, Mitch and RJ.
That team was pretty.
I don't know. Pre-Mitch
man.
and pre-Knox and all that, we had a pretty bad team ourselves.
Yeah. No. We're just talking about that Hawks team, though. I mean, you're talking about some players going back in time. Jeez, Kevin Willis.
But again, it proves my point. It was a veteran team. Like, he's only really dealt with veteran teams.
No, bro. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 players.
Nate, that's not.
That was not a veteran team. He had 4 players on the team that had been in the league over 10 years, right? Kevin Willis, John Barry, Kenny Anderson, and Tom Gugliotta. Other than that, you know, there were a couple guys that had been in the league for 7 years, but I doubt them guys I don't know who was getting playing time for them back then, but I doubt them guys was really, you know, Tony Delk had been in the league for a little while. Tyrone Lue had been in the league. Anthony Miller, Michael Stewart had been in the league for a little while.
I feel like Whitson's kind of like a stopgap coach. Like, you know, he's one of those guys you hire to kind of get to the coach you want. You know, unfortunately, he's been successful, but I just feel like he's that type of coach.
Can someone explain to me what his coaching style is, since for the people who like him? Because I can at least say what I like about Atkinson. What is it that he does on the court that's definitive, that says this is how he plays certain, like this is what he likes to see in his sets outside of ISO? Because he likes ISO ball. Melo and Joe Johnson. He likes ISO guard. So if you don't have that, tell me what is his philosophies over.
Well, you know what? So Gemma, I would say this though. So I wish everybody go please watch that video of me and Sim with the sportscaster talking about Mike Woodson. So I think I'm gonna speak for Sim, but I know for me, if we bring Mike Woodson on, it would be more of a leader as in, you know, a father figure for the team that can really help these guys.
That's garbage. Give me someone on the Isaiah.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Father figure.
Well, no, I understand your feeling because trust me, there's certain things I never really liked about Mike Woodson, especially the ISO ball. The ISO ball was going to kill us, but he did lead us to 54 wins. and he helped coach. He had talent, but I mean, that could be any coach. You can literally say that with any coach.
That he does on the court that says, even if we don't have the greatest of teams, I can look at what he does, and then we could put players around it. It's like, yo, we need this type of play. But he does something distinctive on the team that can be successful players.
Hey, he had some great out of bound timeout calls. He used to kill them timeout calls.
I mean,
I ain't gonna change my name on this.
I mean, hey, I mean, the only thing I say is, when you're looking at the two guys at this point, really, I mean, they're kind of in the same boat. When you look at their track record in the NBA, they're kind of in the same boat. They're kind of in the same boat. You may like some things that you see Kenny Atkinson do, and I like Kenny Atkinson. I want Kenny Atkinson to be the guy. If the Knicks were to hire Mike Woodson, I wouldn't be upset because I do like the father figure type of person that he could be for some of the players on the team.
What about Tibbs? That's Leon's boy.
I mean, I'm looking at, I'm just thinking about the players that we have, right? I'm just thinking about the players that we have, and looking at some of the guys we have, I feel like even if he's not the head coach, if he was an assistant coach, Mike Woodson, guys like Mitch,
I think he'd be perfect for that. He'd be perfect for that.
Guys like Mitch and RJ, Frank Ntilikina, I think he'd be that good father figure. Not like, I can't even think his name, Fizdale, right? Fizdale wanted to be your best friend. I think Mike Woodson is more of that father figure type of guy.
Breakfast.
All right, let's remember, one at a time. We got to practice this, guys. We got to practice this, being able to go one at a time. Okay. But I think that, I think Mike Woodson would be that good father figure type of person for some of those guys on the team. The kind of guy that can push you, but not kill your confidence, I think.
I mean, is he going to tell Mitchell Robinson to shoot the ball?
Mitchell to tell himself to shoot the ball.
Hey, Tyson Chandler had that little jumper. Don't forget, Tyson Chandler had that little jumper.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I'm talking about when you go into playoff basketball. What's up, Sim? By the way, this state
What's going on, man?
Knicks.
What's up with you, brother? Yeah, I know who you are. I know.
I'm just trying to figure out how to use this thing, but yeah, I kind of got it now. But as far as the coach, I need a coach who's going to tell Mitchell Robinson to shoot. I need a coach who's going to tell Frank to go to the paint. And I need a coach who's going to get on Kevin Knox. The only guy who fit the bill to do that is Tibbs. And I don't even like Tibbs. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like Tibbs. But
why don't people like Tibbs?
I don't know.
Because, hold on. Can I explain why I don't like him?
Go for it.
In 2011, 2012, I was in my mother's living room, and I watched when Derrick Rose tore his ACL. And I still have nightmares from that. And the reason why I will never forgive Tibbs for that, because you left Derrick Rose in a game, and you up double digits, and it was 2 minutes left. You didn't even need to play him no more. But
a lot of coaches leave their players a long time.
Yeah, bro, but everywhere Tibbs went, it's an ACL following him. Everywhere he went, Zach LaVine, ACL. Derrick Rose, ACL. You think we want to have him come here and RJ Barrett or one of them get an
Wait, hold on, State. Can I say something though, State? Can I say something to you?
Go ahead.
You should have watched the video with me and Sim. You guys gotta watch the video.
I watched it, and I'm still.
So if you watch the video, if you watch the videos, you gotta understand that 2012 season is not on Tibbs. People got to remember that was a shortened season. And Derrick Rose that season, before he got injured, had missed 26 games due to injury.
Can you explain to me? Why do you have your best player on the court 2 minutes left in the game?
Because a lot of coaches do that still.
Most coaches do that. Hey, wait, hold on.
I've never seen LeBron. Go ahead.
State. I watched. I'm not trying.
Go ahead, bro.
I apologize, but I watched Patriots games. I see Bill Belichick have Tom Brady in the game when there's 46-10.
Yeah, but
not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. Show me a playoff game. I watch football too.
Coaches do that though.
Show me a playoff game where Pat Mahomes is up 20 in the playoffs and his coach still got him in the fourth quarter playing. Can you show me? Show me.
You guys don't have to fake it. Thibodeau has a propensity or whatever. He is known for doing that. And when
he's known,
him
look at his minutes. Look at the minutes the players play.
Yo, Isaiah,
yes, when you run plays into the ground, you diminish their play because you're talking about atrophy. You're talking about fatigue. You're talking about certain players have to be strong. Yeah, some players can play long like that. Some people have endurance, stamina. They can play 24/7. They don't give a damn. Some players, I don't say brittle, but some players, when you keep using them up, especially when they're young, some of these guys have not developed. You're getting guys who are coming to NBA when they're 18, 19, and their bodies are not nearly fully developed. You mess up an ACL, you do this, and then their body doesn't grow the same anymore.
But then we used to always complain about Derrick Rose.
Isaiah, can I ask you a question?
Run players into the ground.
I'm listening.
Isaiah Gammo, did y'all know Thibodeau was a part of the Houston Rockets coaching staff when Yao Ming was over there and T-Mac? Did you listen to what? Celtics. Did you listen to what Tracy McGrady said on All the Smoke podcast about Thibodeau? He said he worked Yao Ming to the bone. Over-practice him. Oh, so Yao Ming didn't do that though? Hold on. He also over-practiced T-Mac too with his back injuries. Like, he's known for doing this. So the only way I would trust Tibbs on the bench is if you put a guy like Jeff Van Gundy next to him or a guy like Mike Woodson, a coach who's going to put in this man's brain, yo, dog, you got him on the court too much. Because you can tell me about the minutes all you want, but these are the facts.
Jeff Van Gundy was the coach of the Rockets.
But Thibodeau is your assistant.
Jeff Van Gundy was the
Thibodeau wasn't.
He was on Boston. Nobody complained about Boston when they won a championship.
But all right, look at the Boston players. Did all of them break down years after?
Yeah, they were all old too.
They were old. What are we talking about? They were old.
Joakim
They won a chip. They won a chip.
Hey, KG was like 30 something.
Nobody cares about that shit.
They also stopped winning because they lost guys like James Posey and Tony Allen. Those guys were like, those are the roles you need around. But anyway, Thibodeau has been known to run plays into the ground. I want these young players to get as much playing as possible. I don't want them. It's like we're two extremes, right? We have these stupid coaches of the past who play Frank 10 minutes here. Don't play him against premier point guards and then put him at like the 4 or something like that. Stupid stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
And then you have Thibodeau, who literally in his head, all he knows is 90s basketball, run these guys around. They got to do, after practice, they got to go and do a 2-hour workout session. I'm joking on that. But it's like, I don't know if he's changed, and we don't need, especially for a guy coming to New York, and the pressure might be there. And also, he can lose locker rooms. He lost at the end of the Wolves tenure. He lost it with the Wolves tenure.
Yes.
I know Wiggins is an idiot. You can call him whatever you want to call him.
You don't really blame the Wolves on him. I'm not defending him, Guillermo, but
I want to see the facts on losing a locker room.
Are we going to really talk about it? Wait, hold on. We're going to really talk about Anthony Towns.
It doesn't matter.
Andrew Wiggins.
It doesn't matter.
Isaiah, I agree with you. I don't like those players' attitudes, but at the end of the day, you are the coach. You lost them. It doesn't matter. As a coach, you're supposed to put like this. If Thibodeau was vying for that job, like right before he vied for that job, right? He was going for the job. And they said, yo, can you control this locker room? He's like, nah, I can't do that, boss. They'll be like, yeah, we're going to still hire you. No, they hire a coach if he can galvanize the players and be like, hey, I want to play this guy even if I don't like him. Even there have been teams of great championship teams where the players hated each other. Phil Jackson with the Bulls, you could argue. But that coach made those guys play together, and he made them win. Thibodeau, I'm not sure he could do that. I'm not talking about championship. I'm not sure Thibodeau could do that if his plan A doesn't work. And his plan B, he brought in a guy like Butler. You should be able to test the temperature of the locker room to see who is the best leader. Now, I like Butler. But again, certain leaders are effective for certain contexts, right? Butler was not going to be successful in that context. Maybe you needed a guy like this sounds corny, and I said this last season when we talked about this. Butler's my guy, but maybe you need a different voice, a softer voice. I hate saying it because it's sweet, no. But maybe you need a softer voice to get to the people.
Thibodeau's a hard ass.
But Guillermo,
okay.
like a Popovich. So I'm sorry, Sam. All I wanted to say was
hold up. Yeah, because we killing it and we fighting over each other and whatnot, and so it's hard for anybody to hear. All right. It looks like, looking at the reports and things like that are coming out, obviously Tom Thibodeau is considered to be the favorite, but it sounds like maybe Mike Woodson could be his assistant. Now, back when Coach Fizdale was hired, this is according to the New York Post, back when David Fizdale was hired, Mike Woodson wanted to come back, and he was supposed to come back. Right? He was going to be named to Fizdale's staff, but then Steve Mills thought it was a bad idea because they didn't want to have someone breathing down his neck to take over the job, right, if he didn't do a good job. So they didn't want to put that kind of pressure on Fizdale. I guess Steve Mills didn't want to put that kind of pressure on Fizdale. So he's been wanting to come back to the Knicks. I think that he would come back as an assistant coach. I don't think he would have a problem coming back as an assistant coach. Right, so now we're talking about if Tom Thibodeau is the favorite. State was just saying, he wouldn't mind having Thibodeau and then Woodson there with him to say, hey, let's keep this easy. I'm really in favor of having Kenny Atkinson as the head coach and Mike Woodson as the assistant coach, right? And then Mike Miller, continuing to keep Mike Miller on staff as a developmental coach, right? I think that would be a very good coaching tree. Me and Isaiah was talking about this a little bit earlier. So Isaiah, I'm gonna unmute you, let you, talk a little bit about it. You probably got to unmute yourself. There you go. And then I'm gonna get around to everybody. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Listen, me and Sim watched the video. Me and Sim got the hashtag. Wait, hold on. It's Kenny,
come on.
Kenny
you can't.
Woody.
What is
Kenny is hashtag Kenny and Woody.
Hashtag Kenny and Woody.
Hashtag Kenny.
Come on,
with
let's
a
get
splash of Mike. With a splash of Mike. And Guillermo, make me something to eat. But
holy shit.
But what we're talking, shut up, Guillermo. But what we're talking about though is that we believe that with these three, that is a great foundation of a great coaching staff. And right there, you have development. You have a father figure in Woods, and also Mike with the development. And I think this is how the foundation of how a good Knicks team can go for 10 years. That can go for 10 to 15 years and can actually get themselves from being a bottom feeding team to one of the best teams in the NBA. Me and Sim agree that these will be the triple head, the three monsters. You can put either one, Mike Woodson or Coach Miller, as either assistant or whatever. But if those three are the coaches, man, I believe this would get the Knicks to where they want to be, where they need to be, and make us move into actually having some real consistency and being a great team. There we go. Hashtag Kenny and Woody.
Hashtag Kenny and Woody. That's my hashtag. Kenny and Woody. I'm using that every show. Hashtag Kenny and Woody. Guillermo?
Yeah, too bad it's not a video game because, one, you got to come with a coach. These guys come with coaching trees. So if he's not cool with Woodson, you never want a pairing where you're looking over your shoulder and thinking that this pair was made by a GM or whatever because maybe they don't trust you. They might want to bring in a guy who might be more experienced if you fail. And a lot of times that it comes to fail. Look at what's happened. Even though they have LeBron, whatever, when they made the hire with Vogel, and they brought in Jason Kidd, that's literally how it felt like. Like, all right, Vogel's here to kind of just, all right, do whatever, and then Jason Kidd's going to be the guy to replace. So if Mike Woodson and what's the name, and Kenny Atkinson aren't friends, it's not going to happen. Now, we can talk about – go ahead.
I think that anybody – this is just my opinion. I think that anyone who is – whoever – if Thibodeau is the favorite or if Kenny Atkinson is the favorite, I believe they probably had conversations and said, who would you want to have? Give me a list of coaches that you'd like to have on your coaching staff.
Okay. And who's to say Woodson's there? We don't know. Or,
what I'm saying is, for example, if I'm hiring someone and I say to Thibodeau, give me a list of players you like, a list of coaches you'd like to have. He gives me a list. And I'm looking at Kenny Atkinson too, and he gives me a list. Right? And I'm looking at Woodson, and he gives me a list. Thibodeau and Kenny Atkinson could both have Woodson on the list. You know what I'm saying? Say, yeah, I would like to have him. So they say, you know what? Both of these guys like Woodson. Let's bring Woodson in for an interview because whoever we hire wouldn't mind having Woodson on the list.
We'll put it like this, and they usually come with coaching trees, and the assistant they have is usually a guy who can help that maybe implemented something that put an offensive set or defensive set that they live by together, and they like to bring up their own guys. So I'm just saying, I'm not
saying that he would. I mean, obviously he wouldn't be the only guy. They're gonna bring other guys. You know, the Knicks have what? How many assistant coaches do they have? They have a bunch of assistant coaches.
Right. It just sounds very improbable. If these guys weren't connected somehow before, unless you.
But Gamble, it's the NBA though. It's a small community.
Well, when you're talking about assistant coaches, a lot of these guys plucked from college, they have their coaching trees that they basically are running with. And these are guys that may have thought of certain things that they live by, certain sets, offensive sets, defensive philosophies that they live by, and those guys can help preach them. Now, you get a guy like Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson plays ISO. Kenny Atkinson is a guy who likes to play pick and roll. So even in that regard, unless the GM is forcing them to be together, I find it very improbable that you're going to have coaches who play their offenses fairly differently.
It depends on the roles. It depends on the roles of the players. I mean, it depends on what role, as they sit down, because as they sit down and say, all right, how is this going to work? I think it depends on what the roles of the coaches are. Mike Woodson could come and not have the role of being an offensive coach at all. He may have a totally different role. And I think it does,
He's still going to be the assistant coach then. So he has to come in and basically be the guy that if Kenny Atkinson is there, that Mike Woodson's basically 80% Kenny Atkinson. So it's not going to be I doubt it's going to be a specialist thing. And when you've watched Mike Woodson coach or whatever, again, this is not taking anything away from him, but this is not like one of these guys where it's like, yo, he can bring 10 billion different looks to an off. Like he's not that type of guy. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's improbable.
I'm just saying if Kenny Atkinson has some guys that he already does that, but he, we don't know. I'm sure that they've had conversations with all three of these guys already, and they've probably asked, what kind of coaching tree would you like to have? I mean, this is just what I'm thinking. I don't know Leon Rose, right. You know what I'm saying? But from what I've seen so far, he seems to be strategical. I will say this, Atkinson, Woodson, and Thibodeau are all clients of Creative Artists Agency.
It's a very good point, and that's why they
call all clients.
It'd be very scary to get these guys. Hey, let's create an NBA 2K, trio of coaches. Hey, you're talking about different personalities who all want the number one spot. Woodson,
but Mike Woodson's been an assistant coach. He's been in that role,
and he won. Huh? I put money on it. If you ask Mike Woodson, would you like to be an assistant coach or would you like to be a head coach? So
of course.
Lying. I mean, Gilmore, that's most coaches though, Gilmore. What do you be Gilmore? That's like Gilmore. I think that part's a little ridiculous because what coach wouldn't say they want to be a head coach?
Did you understand my question? I'm saying that we're talking about you bringing three coaches together. One of them has to be the head coach. The other guys have to be assistant coaches.
But we're not talking about Tom Thibodeau, Atkinson, and Mike Woodson.
No, you're talking about Atkinson and Woodson, right?
We're saying Atkinson and Woodson or Thibodeau and Woodson.
Okay, sorry, my bad. A duo of coaches. So if you have a duo of coaches, obviously the other one still wants to be a head coach, right? And because they don't come from each other's trees where it's like, all right, I'll be assistant coach for this guy because he's a guy who got me into the business until maybe I get another head coaching job. So I'm not vying for his job on the team now. So say Budenholzer, for some weird reason, the Bucks do terrible. He goes by San Antonio, right? He'll be an assistant coach and say Popovich doesn't retire this year. Let's just make this up. Popovich stays there for another 3-4. He wants to stay there for how long? Budenholzer, he doesn't have to look behind his back and say, yeah, Budenholzer's going to steal my job because they have to understand, hey, I'm just here to get the assistant coach job and wait till an opportunity comes up again. And I'm a part of your coaching tree. Those other two, the combination of how you put it together, those guys aren't of each other's coaching tree. So if you put them together, the other one is always going to try to be viable. I'm not saying he's going to sit there and say, yo, don't listen to the head coach, listen to me. But again, you have those situations where what we saw with Jordan, when they put together Phil Jackson's assistant coach with Doug Collins said, hey, like I kind of felt the fire. Him and Tech Sweat, I knew kind of where they were trying to want to go. And that, it kind of affected me. And he didn't say like, Phil Jackson was always talking trash about him. But again, you don't come from a coaching tree. It could be a really bad match when you're mixing two head coaches who literally want that job.
Wait, and
they weren't really fired for head coaching jobs. So it's not like, all right, let me just sit in the back. And they'd be like, all right, well, you want the job, and I got to be all right. Let's see how long this.
Yeah, what was the case with Doc? So what was the case with Doc Rivers and Mike Woodson? They were both head coaches.
Say it again.
So how could they work together?
They probably knew. I don't know. They probably knew each other.
I don't know. I mean, looking at Mike Woodson, I'm going to say this. From the time that he was here in New York, and then I'm going to get to phone call if they call back. From the time that he was here in New York, Mike Woodson seemed to be the kind of guy to me, and he did it in Atlanta. I mean, when he was in Atlanta, I think one of those seasons, he went down to being an assistant coach, and then he came back up to being the head coach. I don't know what happened. I'd have to look back to see what happened. He seems to be the kind of guy that's like, okay, you know what? That's what you want me to do. I'll jump in and do it. Obviously, I think he wants to be a head coach again. But if he can't get a job as a head coach, I think he would accept a coach, to be an assistant coach. I think he would. I think he would. He was going to do it under Fizdale. He was going to come under Fizdale, a coach with less experience than him.
And Sim.
Be a coach.
See how bad Fizdale. You know his heart. Woodson's like, this dude Fizdale, he's terrible. I'm about to take this job in 20 games.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He was willing to come under Fizdale and be an assistant coach.
That's a good one, Guillermo. That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? He's willing to come and be an assistant coach. Maybe that was his motive. I don't know. But he was willing to do it. And he may be looking to do the same thing here. He may say, hey, Tom Thibodeau's been failing. He failed in Minnesota. He's probably going to fail here.
Right, and that proves my point why.
You never know. But,
hey, guys, real quick, guys. I hear y'all talking about Woodson. There's a couple of things with that. When he won, was it 54 games that his first full year?
No, the year they went to the playoffs, yeah.
Okay, the year he went to the playoffs. That next year, there were a whole bunch of obstacles with that. Number one, Jason Kidd left. Number two, J.R. Smith.
No. Jason Kidd was there another year, bro.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. No, he left after 1 year. He left after 1 year. He retired. Number two, J.R. Smith. I think he was supposed to be going for an injury and then was going for marijuana possession. So we lost him for quite a bit. And then Tyson Chandler, he breaks his leg, right? It was a lot. No doubt about it. There was a lot.
And then was that the year also that we got Bargnani?
Don't even talk about Bargnani, man. I'm gonna get to a phone call, man. Let me get to a phone call. Don't bring up Bargnani, man. Come on, man. You heard us with that.
I totally agree with y'all, but
you heard us with that. Hold on, let me get to a phone call. I'm gonna come right back to you guys, man. Call back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me while the caller's calling back, let me get to a couple of super chats. He brought up Bargnani. Oh, that hurt. Caller, you live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Pretty good. The coach you guys are overlooking is Mike Brown. Remember, he became the head coach of Cleveland in 2005. In 2007, he had them in the finals against the Spurs. In 2009, 66 wins. 2010, 61 wins. But when LeBron couldn't stay in Cleveland anymore, he left. They felt Mike Brown was the reason. He got fired. He's only been Steve Kerr's number one assistant coach for the last few years, learning a ball movement system because he was always a great defensive coach. He's the guy you guys might want to think about having come in as the head coach and bringing in somebody as an assistant coach.
Mike Brown. I mean,
look at his resume.
I guess, he has a resume. I guess he has a resume. I don't know. I'm not sure about Mike Brown.
What's your negative against him?
I don't know enough about him, so I can't even say. I don't know enough about him. I'm just being honest with you. I don't even know enough about him.
He came in with a young LeBron James. 2005, his first year as head coach. 2007, he has them in the finals against the San Antonio Spurs. Then he runs against Boston for 3 years. Then LeBron leaves, and then they let him go. He's been with the Lakers. He's now Steve Kerr's #1 assistant for a reason.
You got points. I can't argue with you in those points, man. Honestly, I can't. I can't argue with you.
And he's worked with young superstars to make them good. Think about it. 2007, LeBron's third year in the league. He's got him in the finals.
Can't argue with you, brother. Listen, Mike Brown has a coaching record, a career coaching record as a head coach of 563 wins, 347 wins, 216 losses. He has a career coaching record of 61%. His winning percentage is 61%. He's won 61% of his games. He's coached 563 games. It's hard to argue with you. He coached the Lakers for 2 seasons. He was 71-40. No, he was 42-29 coaching the Lakers for 2 seasons.
But if you think about what your Knicks are going into, you're going into a coach who's going to grow with the team. He's been with Steve Kerr for the last 3 years, so he understands the ball movement system. Remember, he came in as a defensive disciple under Popovich. So he served under Popovich. He's now served under Steve Kerr. Yeah. He had a successful run as a head coach. Instead of getting somebody who's been a retread, such as Tibbs or Mike Woodson, I think Mike Brown, being how he's been a top organization with the Warriors, would be able to come in and work with an organization and understanding the new training regimens. That, think about it, up until Kevin Durant, once Steve Kerr got there, Mike Brown, they have a whole training system where those guys don't get injured. Then all of a sudden, after 5 years of finals, they break down.
So I'm looking at Mike Brown, and I'm looking at his coaching history, coaching experience. He's been assistant coach for 7 seasons with the Washington Wizards, with the San Antonio Spurs, and with the Indiana Pacers. He got the head coaching job of the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2005-2006. He coached them to a 50-32 record. 2006-2007, he coached them to a 50-32 record. 07-08, he coached them to a 45-37 record. 08-09, there was 66-16. 2009-2010, there was 61-21. Obviously, they had LeBron all these years. And then he went to the Los Angeles Lakers. He coached the Lakers to a 41-25 record in 2011-2012. In 2012-2013, they were 1-4. He got fired. And then in 2013-2014, he coached the Cleveland Cavaliers to a 33-49 record. That season in 2013-2014, let's see who they have on the team. Kyrie Irving was in his second year that season.
Yeah, that's the year before LeBron comes back.
Yeah, it's the year before LeBron comes back. Anthony Bennett was a rookie. Yeah, they drafted Anthony Bennett. They picked up Andrew Bynum. They had Earl Clark, Seth Curry, Matthew Dellavedova, Luol Deng. He was in his 9th year. Shane Edwards, Lonzo G, Kyrie Irving, Jack, C.J. Miles, Tristan Thompson, Anderson Varejao, Deion Waiters. He was in his first year, in his second year. I don't know. I mean, he has a track record. There's no doubt about that.
And now he's been with a great organization with the Warriors, and he sees how it's run. The Knicks are putting things in place. They need a coach who's come from a great organization to help the organization that you guys are putting together.
Hey, listen, you got a lot of good points, bro. A lot of good points. A lot of good points. I can't even argue with you.
And the players you guys are looking at, there's a guy coming out of the Greek league, Alexei Polevsky. The reason he's not playing on the big team is because he wouldn't sign a long-term contract. European teams hide their players because they don't want to go to the NBA. And he's playing in the same league that second team like Giannis did. When Giannis didn't sign the long-term agreement, he came to the NBA, he developed. This Poleski kid plays the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. He's a skinny version of any 6'10" player you want to name. And I listen to your show a lot. You know, I'm in California, so I kind of get to replay and stuff. Everybody's hung up on shooting percentages of guys when they first come in the league. Kevin Durant shot 28% from three-point range when he first came in the league. Nobody comes in as a finished product. The only guy came in shooting above 30% from three-point range, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's what they did in college. When you're a multifaceted player who's bigger, you don't always shoot a lot of threes in the college game when you're first coming in. You're running the college system where the big guys are cutting to the basket, posting up, a little more movement. It wasn't until recently that a lot of big guys, coaches are letting them shoot the three. Some coaches are still stuck in, hey, let's get the two-point shot. It's a better shot. So that's why a lot of guys come in without the great shooting percentages from threes. So I wouldn't be down on a guy like a LaMelo Ball or anybody who's shooting a 25, 30% from three-point range in their first year. It's what they do years 2 and up. Are they working on the shot? Are they getting stronger? If you see Kobe, he said his first year, when they lost to Utah, all his shots were on line. They were just short. He had to get stronger. And that's what happens being a player coming in with a full-year training staff. And that's why some of these guys, their shooting percentages go up because they get stronger. And they're working with the shooting coach, showing them better technique and, you know, basically tuning their craft as a shooter.
Okay. I think my man Guillermo has a question for you. Guillermo, I'm going to get you unmuted.
Okay.
I think Guillermo had a quick question for you. Guillermo?
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yep, I can hear you.
Sir, where are you from? Are you affiliated with the NBA in any way? Because you said we, so you don't sound like a Knicks fan, which is cool, but you definitely said we. I mean, you refer to us as what we should do versus what, you know, all of us should do. So you sound connected, or at least a coach of something in some capacity.
I have affiliation with like maybe a couple scouts and a couple owners that, you know, I've done some part-time stuff with some people, with some scouting reports.
So, I mean, would you mind, you know, coming on again? Because this sounds like really good insight, man. I appreciate this. And we could definitely...
I have no problem. You know, I just live in California. I just need to know what time you guys... I pull you guys up sometimes and see when it's the live call-in show. I can give you my... I can, you know, have no problem coming on anytime to answer some questions.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, you can... in the YouTube chat, I'm going to put my email, and you can email me there.
Okay. TheWhereby.com?
No, srussell@nothingbutnicks.com.
Okay, I'll email you.
Yeah, email me. I just put my email in the YouTube chat, so.
Got it.
All right. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Great call. Great insight, too.
All right, you guys have a great show.
Yeah, you too. Oh, well, thank you. So, Guillermo, I can't argue with him about Mike Brown.
No, put like this. There's a reason why Mike Woodson's not a hot commodity. Like you mentioned LeBron years. LeBron James, I mean, that Cavs team offensively, they were terrible. You could talk about defensive stuff. But, I mean, there's a reason why Mike Woodson's not, you know, people aren't knocking down the door for Mike Woodson. Not to say
Mike Brown.
I'm sorry. And that's not even to say that he hasn't learned anything. But this team, for what the Knicks need, right? So Mike Woodson Brown may not be a bad coach, but when you look at those Warriors teams, I mean, they struggled without their main horses. I don't think we have the shooters now, and I think that we'd be better off with somebody who has an identity that's not, I won't say experimental, but if Mike Brown comes in and tries to teach what he learned with the Warriors, obviously he'd be experimenting, and you might get a mismatch versus. I think a simpler system like with Atkinson, the pick and roll, create space, works better for us. RJ Barrett, those last few games, you saw him, when they started using the pick and roll with Mitchell Robinson up high, he was killing it. RJ Barrett was putting up good numbers when they started using the pick and roll late in the season. So I'm not saying Mike Woodson is not a good coach, but I'd rather go with
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown. Oh, I think. Yeah, he used LeBron years, but it's like, yo, bro, LeBron James could have been playing with me, you, Mark, and like, any Isaiah. LeBron James could have been playing with LeBron James and 4 Isaiahs, and he would have went to the playoffs. Like, LeBron James was special regardless. So, I mean, let's not act like Mike Brown didn't have talent. And again,
no, I mean, he had talent. He had talent, but
defensively, I don't say offensively, but that team.
He definitely had talent. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Obviously, you got LeBron James, you got talent on your team. But his coaching record is, you can't deny that.
What's the coaching record again? I didn't.
He's won 61% of his games as a coach.
What did he? Can you give me? Maybe you can't give me a percentage, but what did it look like after LeBron James wasn't on this team when he was on those Lakers?
So when LeBron James was no longer on the team, he was no longer on the team. He went to the Lakers.
Right. The Lakers.
He went to the Lakers and he was 41-25 in his first season with the Lakers.
I was with Kobe and Nash, I think.
Right. 41-25. And then the next season, he was 1-4. You probably remember he was 1-4. He got fired right away. First 5 games of the season, got fired.
Hey, I mean, there's a reason. I'm not saying he's a terrible person. He hasn't learned anything, but I'd rather see Mike Woodson. If Steve Kerr was out for some time, right? Steve Kerr did get sick a few years ago, something like that. I would like to see if Mike Woodson had that team. If he had that team for an extended period of time. But it's tough because, again, when you look at that team, they got, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, those guys come back healthy, Draymond. So it's tough. It's just
it's tough. It's definitely tough. But he's got a better coaching record than all the guys we're looking at. Out of all the guys we're looking at, the main guys we're looking at, the main 2 are Kenny Atkinson and Tom Thibodeau. He's the only one that's been to the NBA Finals, albeit he had LeBron James.
He was one of the greatest coaches at 1.2, and the Knicks got rid of him with the quickness. So, Mike Woodson, I don't think did much after he was with the Knicks. So, I'm just saying the coaching records could be deceiving. Again, a lot with that LeBron stuff. LeBron was a.
I know. I get it. I get it. He had LeBron, but it's not easy to coach LeBron James either.
That's right. Well, yeah, because
it's not easy to coach LeBron. So I don't know. But you're right. There is a reason that he went back to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2013, 2014. And then he was out of the league until 2016, 2017. And he's been with the Warriors since 2016, 2017. It's hard to say.
Can I get some credit for, since you don't want to ask the question, can I get some credit for now? I'll hook you up with the NBA now. I don't get no love.
Hook me up with the NBA. We'll see. We'll see. We had another NBA scout on here a while back. Caller, you live on Alphabet Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. How you feeling?
Good. I'm very good. Thank you. I have a real short point to make.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Regarding regarding Woodson, there is precedent for him coming back, and having a specialist position.
Okay.
Because he did it under D'Antoni, I believe. D'Antoni's defense was pretty bad. Didn't they hire Woodson to help solidify D'Antoni's defense?
I believe yes. Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson was. Wait a minute. Mike Woodson was the assistant for. Let me look again. Let me look at Mike Woodson again. Oh, that's him as a player. Hold on for 1 second. But I believe you're right. But go ahead, and then I'll get the information. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Okay. So he took he got hired under D'Antoni, and the defense on the team didn't improve. So there is precedent for him to come back in a specialist position because he's done it before. That's the only point I wanted to make.
Okay. So under Tom Thibodeau, if he was under Tom Thibodeau or Kenny Atkinson, would they need him as a defensive specialist?
I think under not under Thibodeau, and I'm not a Tibbs guy, but I would like to bring him in under Atkinson.
Okay. I would love to. I mean, that's my duo right there. That's the duo that I would like to see. Obviously, what Guillermo says is right. You know, Kenny Atkinson would have to say that this is a guy that I'd like to have on my team. You can't just, as the general manager or president, you can't just say you're going to work with Mike Woodson. You can't do that because he's going to have his own guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. He has to have chemistry with him, of course. I'm not just saying that you can just throw them together. I don't know if they do have any history of chemistry. I'm just saying I would like, in the dream scenario, that's what I would like. But I know it might not be realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, he was an assistant in 2011, 2012 with the Knicks. Mike D'Antoni resigned, got fired, whichever way it was. He took over. He led the team to an 18-6 record. Then he was the head coach for 2012, 2013. He was 54-28. In 13-14, they were 37-45. And there was, a lot of injuries that season. Amari Stoudemire, Tyson Chandler, J.R. Smith, Jason Kidd was gone. It was, Phil Jackson. I think Phil Jackson let him go because he didn't think that he had the basketball IQ to run the triangle. That's why I think Phil Jackson let him go. Gotcha.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that there was precedent for him coming back in that position because he's done it before.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see. I have a feeling he might be coming back, not as the head coach, but as an assistant. Yeah. We'll see.
But thank you, guys. That was it, and thanks to the chat. I love the show, and guys, keep doing a great job, okay?
Appreciate you, my man.
All right.
Later. Get to another call here. Caller, you live on up from the Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, Sim. How you doing? Good night. It's JP.
Hey, how you doing, JP?
I'm doing okay. So I'll just make this short and sweet. So if it were up to me, I would love. I've always had a dream for the Knicks to actually find their own Brad Stevens, but I understand that where they are as a franchise, that you do need a veteran coach in here. So if I'm leaning towards Atkinson, but in regards to Tibbs, so we know he's a good coach, has good defensive principles, but we know what his weaknesses are. And my biggest issue with him is do we know for a fact whether he's learned from learned from what he's done wrong? Because if you notice, in the last couple of months, he's been on this media tour. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if he's just saying this stuff to get the job or if he actually believes this, because this is a very important hire here. And it's like, if you tell me the four candidates, I'm like, okay, I would prefer Atkinson because I think he's still young. And as we can see, he develops players. But it scares me because you keep hearing, oh, well, Tibbs, he's a shoo-in to get this job, which I have an issue with that because what is the legitimacy of this coaching search? Right. Is it a legitimate coaching search where every single candidate they will give a fair shot, or are you just doing a coaching search and then all of a sudden you're going to hire Tibbs in the first place? Because if that's the case, what is the point in someone like Atkinson interviewing in the first place? You know what I mean? Right. It's a scary, scary proposition because at the end of the day, you keep on hearing that we all know that Tibbs has always wanted this job, and you would hope that he would learn. I mean, that you would hope that he knows that if he does get this job, that this is his last opportunity. So you would hope that everything clicks for him. And, I hope that that's the case, but something about this coaching search I'm not comfortable with. Like, would you prefer that they expand the search? Because, it's always good. You can learn a lot through an interview process. You can pick up on things that you can use. So I don't know. What's your take on this whole thing?
I mean, I believe, yes, they should expand the search. I think that, you look at, I think that with Leon Rose and the executive team that he's put together, you look and you got to say, what do we want our team to represent? And then you go out and you interview coaches that are going to that believe in that same representation. You know what I mean? If you say we want this team to be a hardcore defensive team that can get up and down the floor, that can do this, that can do that, then you go out and you find a coach that believes in those same things. When you interview multiple people, because in my opinion you do, because let's say the coach you hired doesn't work out, you might say, but remember when we talked to this guy, he did this, that, and the other thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got people, you got people that you can look to in that event, and that you've already got a feel for and stuff like that. And it does bother me that Tom Thibodeau, Kenny Atkinson, and Mike Woodson are all part of the CAA family, along with Leon Rose.
But the thing is okay. So I know that Tibbs is one of his best friends or whatever but okay, let's say, because you hear like he's a shoo-in for the job. So if Atkinson goes in there and his interview, he deserves the job, do you think Leon would say, this guy is the best person for my franchise at this point? Or do you think he's going to say, oh, because Tibbs is my boy, I'm going to go with Tibbs?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough.
That's my problem.
I haven't seen enough from Leon Rose to know. You know what I mean?
Also, one last thing. So, do you know, we see what he's done in Chicago or what he's done in Minnesota. Do you know if Thibodeau's the kind of coach that you would need to, he would need a certain personnel in order to be effective, or can he make adjustments to the players that he has on the staff? Because what I'm saying is it'll be kind of hard what I don't want to see the Knicks do is to get players to fit a particular style, but then if it doesn't work out with Tibbs, then we have a bunch of players that just fit a particular system.
Right. I think that Thibodeau is the kind of coach that needs a team that's ready to win. That's what I think about Tom Thibodeau. I don't think I don't think that he's the guy to build from the ground up. That's my opinion on him. I don't think he's the guy to build from the ground up.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, and I kind of feel I have a bad feeling in my stomach that regardless of how this coaching search happens, it looks like we're going to end up with Tibbs, and I think I'll be very annoyed because if he comes to New York and does the same, we all know what his weaknesses are. He should be smart enough to know what his weaknesses are. Obviously, he knows what they are because he's been on this media tour attacking what people are saying. If he comes here, he does the same thing. I'm like, it's going to be very disappointing.
Yeah.
Also, been reading I read an article recently in the Post saying that he has already picked his staff if he does get this job. I understand as a coach you need people that you trust, but by no means did I hear anything of him possibly wanting to get a young and up and coming assistant in there. Like, you need to have some fresh blood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For a fact that your offense is lacking, then go out there and get yourself like an offensive guru or something.
Right. And
I don't have a problem with him getting this job, but he has to be able to fix what people are saying, like that he's not good at.
Right. And that's where I think he's the kind of coach that you need a team that's ready to win. Or, that's why I think that, because if you look at the type of guys that he wants to bring in, veteran coaches that's been around.
In my opinion,
I think that's what his mindset is, and it might be, that he's looking and although there's a young team, Leon Rose is saying, this is what's going to happen. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. We're going to get that. Who knows?
In my opinion, hiring Tibbs, it would be too much work. Because you would need to, like you said, if that's the case, he would need to get the personnel to fit what he wants. And I I don't know. I'm not agreeing with that. But thank you very much for the time, and enjoy the show. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for calling in.
All right.
Oh, it's a great call with JP. I'm gonna take one more call and I'm gonna get back to the chat. I'm gonna come to State of the Knicks podcast. I'm gonna come to him because I want to find out what he thinks about this Mike Brown thought. Caller, you live on off of Knicks. What's popping?
In my opinion,
hey, Sim, how's it going, buddy?
It's good. I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. And you guys are having a very good show tonight.
Thank you.
I'm calling because the last caller, I called just because of that last caller.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stress going on right now, and I understand where the stress is coming from. Tibbs is not bad, but I think the stress is coming from the fact that if you're reading the headlines, from the past 2 weeks, you're seeing that, okay, Tibbs is basically mostly guaranteed to get the job, all right? And there's a reason for that. There was no basketball playing, and we all know that anything that involves the Knicks, everybody gonna look at it. Everybody gonna be talking about it. When you put a headline like, Tibbs is like, it's a sure thing, like, to the Knicks. It's like a clickbait. A lot of people gonna click on it. But to be honest with you, I would say this: nobody knows what's gonna happen when it comes to the New York Knicks. Because let me tell you something, my friend. I heard from ESPN, from Stephen A. Mouth and Max Kellerman, that we were at the 2-yard line to get Kevin Durant. That's a football analogy.
Right.
So when those guys tell you, like, you were at the 2-yard line to get Kevin Durant, that means it was a sure thing. Like it was just like, pen and paper, and then the guy's right there, like, at the Garden. But where's Kevin Durant right now? Where's Kyrie Irving? They're playing for the Nets. So there's a lot of guys out there that's putting out information just, to get clicks, to get views, to get, like, people's focus, people's attention, because they know Knicks fans are, like, crazy about their team. But I would say this: until the Knicks hire, like, a head coach, I would not lose sleep or lose my mind over, like, those headlines. Like, yes, nothing against Tibbs, but there's a lot of good guy out there, like, Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, that's the guy I like.
That could be a very great hire for us. When you look at the guys that we have in our teams, like, the young prospect that we have, and just picture, like, what Kenny can do, like, with those kids, like, the like of, like, Mitch, RJ, even Knox. We haven't even seen, like, the full potential of Knox yet, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I believe, like, Atkinson, like, could be the guy for us. But I don't think they're gonna, like, if they put Atkinson, like, as a headline, it's not gonna sell as much as Tibbs. Meanwhile, like, Atkinson might be the guy, but we don't know that because it's the Knicks. So let me let you get somebody else, and then I hear you comment about that.
All right, I appreciate your call. I think listen, you could very well be right. There's a lot of headlines. People want to sell newspapers. You could be right, and Kenny Atkinson isn't going to sell as many newspapers. So that could definitely be right. I do think that Tom Thibodeau, just my opinion, that Tom Thibodeau is probably the first guy up the bat. That's what I think. I think he's probably the first guy up the bat. And then Kenny Atkinson. I was hoping that it would be Kenny Atkinson that's first up to bat, but I'm just not sure that it is, man. Just not sure that it is. I'm going to come back to the guys in the chat. I want to find out from these guys, man. I just want to find out from you. What do you think? Where's your head at with it? You guys are unmuted. Jump in anytime. State of the Knicks, man. Let me talk to you first, man. Tell me what you think. You got to unmute yourself, though. Gotta unmute yourself. Yeah, Isaiah, why don't you?
There we go.
There you go. There you go. You figured it out.
All right. Now,
So talk to me about Mike Brown first. What do you think about Mike Brown first?
Yo, that caller sold me on Mike Brown.
He sold you on him. He sold you on him. Huh?
Yeah. He got me. He got me good, man. Because at first I was like the chat. I was like, hell no. Then he was like, well, he did this. He broke this down. Oh, he had this young core. Mike Brown sounds like a good candidate, but I know the Knicks is not going to go that way because CAA runs the Knicks like a mob. And Leon Rose is going to go get his guy. It's already ingrained in my brain that Thibodeau is going to be my coach. So I don't even know why we even talking to Atkinson. Like, Tibbs is going to be the coach, whether we like it or not.
100%.
We just got to pray to God that Tibbs has changed his ways. That's it. That's it. I like Kenny Atkinson. I heard things that Kenny Atkinson wasn't a good game manager. I think that's what I heard about him. And you see the things that people say, like D'Lo. D'Lo said Kenny Atkinson held him back and he only played them because Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie got hurt. So, I mean, Kenny Atkinson, he's a good candidate because he took a band of misfits to the playoffs. But when you look at all the candidates and y'all want a guy who's not going to be a friend with RJ Barrett. You want a guy who's going to be a coach, who's going to coach these guys and not be their friends.
Amen.
Right?
Exactly.
You think you look at Mike Brown. Yes, he had LeBron James. But you need a coach, though. Kobe didn't win nothing without Phil Jackson. Michael didn't win nothing without Phil Jackson. Sometimes you need a coach and you need that player-coach relationship. And you look at a guy like RJ Barrett and you'd be like, what coach do you want with RJ Barrett? Let's forget about the whole roster. Let's talk about strictly the lottery picks. Who do you want with Kevin Knox right now? I think I want Thibodeau with Kevin Knox. Might turn Kevin Knox into Luol Deng. We never know. Thibodeau could look at Kevin Knox like, look, I got this 6'9", 6'10" forward who don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's improved on his passing. If you watch Mitchell Robinson highlights, Kevin Knox is on a lot of those highlights, and he improved his defense this season. As I've seen on your show where you talked about Kevin Knox and his defense got better this season. Then you look at a guy like Frank Ntilikina. What coach do you want with Frank Ntilikina? I want Tibbs with Frank Ntilikina. I'm sorry. Tibbs will look at Frank like, I got my Tony Allen right here. Then you think, Mitchell Robinson. Didn't we see him do a couple passes last year? Didn't we see him put the ball on the floor last year? What coach do you think will garner respect from the whole roster day one when he stepped into that locker room? Mind you, I don't like Thibodeau, right? I don't like Tibbs.
Why don't you like Tibbs?
It's that Derrick Rose injury, bro. It cannot leave my head, bro. I'm
Sim,
sorry.
can I say something?
Go ahead.
Listen, man, I think people have this wrong negative connotation about Tibbs, but the reality is that he has something that no other of these coaching candidates have, and that's a championship ring. And he coached on the championship staff. He was one of the biggest reasons why the Celtics won their championship that year against the Lakers, because of his defense.
But can I say something to that? Can I say something to that? Did you watch Brandon Hayward talk on NBA TV about Thibodeau?
I don't care about Brandon Hayward.
What did he say? What did Brandon Hayward say?
So basically, he said what a lot of people have said. Thibodeau's defense is outdated, meaning Thibodeau likes to ice the pick and roll.
He talked about the stretch four. The stretch four is making his defense outdated, but I'm not buying it.
No, you should buy it, though, because when he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves, he tried that same scheme and it didn't work. It only worked in 20 when he was on the Bulls. Yeah, but it only worked on the Bulls because the bigs wasn't stretching the floor. Now you got Simmons who can shoot
Noah was
threes.
a more defensive-minded guy than Cat was.
Yeah, but you got.
Tibbs did not have the defenders on that team.
If you have
That's true, but didn't he have a generational center though? Then Cat numbers got better under Tibbs. I mean, didn't Wiggins numbers get better under Tibbs? I mean, y'all gotta. I don't like Tibbs, but I'm defending this man right now.
The thing about Tibbs, you know what's scary about Tibbs is that, and Mark brought this up, so I'm not stealing this point. The Wolves had a top 10 offense that year, and they still underachieved.
But so Cat got hurt. Cat got hurt, but that means at the very base level, that team they underachieved because they were that talented that even with the lack of chemistry and all the issues, they were still top 10 offense. And you're telling me that team couldn't get what? They lost in the first round that year, right? Yeah, they lost to the Rockets, but you got to understand. So let me ask you a question. Who was on that bench that year that Tibbs had that team?
They have Shabazz. Was it
they had Teague. They had Teague. They had Cat.
Teague past his prime.
They had Muhammad.
Look at that roster. His roster really wasn't good.
Exactly. That team was not that good. Exactly.
But
he still got them to the playoffs. He still got them to the playoffs. He still got them to overachieve, even though they wasn't that good.
And he couldn't.
And if you remember the Bulls years when he had those teams that weren't that talented, but man, they fought hard and they played hard for that coach. I didn't hear no complaining then.
Well, let me get Kevin up in here. Kevin, I knew you wanted to jump in here.
No, I was just agreeing with State of the Knicks a little bit. I'm not a Thibodeau fan either, but I do believe that he will make a lot of our players 10 times better.
He's going to put a stamp on this team.
I think that he's going to make – I mentioned this before. He's going to make Frank and Mitch – he's going to make his dogs pretty much on defense.
Oh, my goodness, bro.
Even RJ, man. Don't
and RJ as well.
RJ.
My only concern, I mean, you have offense, you have defense. I don't know what his offensive principles are. That's my problem.
Hey, man, I'd rather have a strong defensive team.
I got something for you. Thibodeau ran the triangle when he was on the Bulls, but he ran a spread pick and roll as well with Derrick Rose. So when Derrick Rose came out the game, Noah had ran the offense. So you got to look at the personnel when it comes to Thibodeau. If you look at this Knicks roster right now, I like Thibodeau with this Knicks roster. And then another thing I got to take into account too, where we draft, right? If we get Tibbs, right? Think about this real quick. If we get Tibbs, right? God forbid we get the number 1 pick. I think Tibbs would take Anthony Edwards over LaMelo because Edwards is a Tibbs guy. Edwards is a Tibbs guy. He seems like a Tibbs guy to me more than a LaMelo Ball guy. Now, if we get Kenny Atkinson, I think he's more of a ball guy than an Edwards guy. I
don't think anybody taking ball over Edwards, period. I think y'all are crazy.
No.
Well, we don't know. They haven't played a full season, so you actually don't know. They have not played full season. So Edwards, if you look at his numbers, he was touted, but again, as it happens every year, unless you're LeBron James or one of these just clear-cut number 1 guys, rankings and how scouts and all these people change, and we don't know. We only know what these so-called analysts are saying. Sometimes teams, this is not the strongest of drafts. So, like, I think State of the Union brings a great State of New York brings up a great point, whereas like a guy like LaMelo, I think would fit like an Atkinson. I'm not saying this is his game, but he mirrors more of what D'Angelo Russell was doing. A guy who can take a guy ISO, but you use that pick and roll with him, allow him the athleticism, facilitate to the outside, he could be deadly. Versus Edwards, who could be a dog on both ends of the floor and might fit.
If we take Ball over Edwards, I'm selling my fandom.
Wait, bro? You better stop.
What if you get the third pick?
I'm straight up.
Y'all the same people that said I would be crazy for taking Ja Morant over Zion. And now some of y'all are coming to that side to be like, I might take Ja over Zion. So I'm just saying, man, things could change.
All right, let me get to Isaiah here. Isaiah, go ahead. You gotta unmute yourself though.
Hello?
Yep, you there?
So basically This is getting good, guys.
It's getting stupid.
To the
It's
meat of
getting
this.
not good.
Yeah, no. But when it comes to this, man, I think we're just going based off this. Again, I prefer Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson fits what the Knicks are at right now. Tom Thibodeau, it's a lot of factors with him, man. We gotta again watch our video. But no, it's just about with Thibs' style of play. Like I told some earlier, if Thibs comes in here with an offensive guru, like I'm talking about Mike D'Antoni level assistant coach, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being that coach. But if he doesn't though, which it could possibly be, so here's another thing that people got to understand with Tom Thibodeau, which is really frustrating with him, is that when his offense is really good, his defense sucks. When his defense is really good, his offensive sucks. He's not consistent. Like, look at his numbers. When he's like 5th in scoring in the league, his defense is like 23rd. When his defense is like number 2, his offense is 21st. So it's just about you got to find the consistency with him, man. But again, the Knicks, where the Knicks are, and I think we all got to remember where the Knicks are at. We are a bottom feeding team. We have just missed the playoffs for the 7th straight time in a row. You know what I'm saying? So we got to remember where we're at and the players that we have. We need a Kenny Atkinson. We need that guy that's going to tell Mitch, yo, after practice, I'm just throwing the name, got the Spurs shooting coach, even though he wouldn't be doing that, but we got the Spurs coach. He's going to shoot. He's going to teach you how to keep your elbow in when you shoot so that when you do a mid-range shot, you make it. And we're going to spend another hour and a half doing that. Or Kevin Knox. I know you're not good at defense. I'm going to bring a defensive guy in there. We've been watching film on you. We're going to bring him in here. We're going to show you how to really plant your feet, keep your feet, really good and that. Move your hips. We're going to show you how to do that. With Tom Thibodeau, let's be real. He's an old school coach. He's an old school, you know what? We're going to run suicides today. We're going to run suicides. We're going to do this as a team. Now, I understand team practice. I understand team practice. But nowadays, we can't just have team practice. It's not the 90s. It's not Michael Jordan and running sprints and, that's watching a team leader do that. No, we can't do that. We got to have individual workouts for these players so that they can get better at certain things. And that's what Kenny Atkinson brings. Tom Thibodeau is not going to do that. Tom Thibodeau's going to be like, hey, we're going to run as a team. We're going to do this as a team, which is all cool, but that's not how the NBA works now. So this is what we got to understand.
And from hearing from all this, it seems like everybody's really moved away from Mike Miller. Am I correct on that?
I don't know. I mean, from what I've read, it seems like he's probably still going to be on staff.
I mean, listen.
He's probably going to be on staff. He's just not going to be a head coach.
I think it speaks volumes, Kevin, when we haven't heard any. I'm not saying Mike Miller's a bad coach. I think Mike Miller's a good coach. But you should hear that there's no reports of, this team's interested in Mike Miller, this team's interested in. There's not a lot of people from what we see that Mike Miller's, a sort of a modern.
Yeah. So in all honesty, it's a 2-man race. Then it's a 2-man race.
I think it's a 2-man race. I think it's a 2-man race with Mike Woodson possibly being one of the assistants. An assistant on one of the teams.
Yep.
I mean,
I know one thing though.
An assistant for one of the coaches, not on one of the teams. That's what I think.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Sam. I just hope that, State of New York said he's in his mind. Tom Thibodeau's already coached. I don't want it to be like that, man. I really hope the Knicks really look at Kenny Atkinson and really look at what this guy has done over the last couple of years and actually see that he's doing a great job at developing. And we got to understand, and I hope Leon Rose just doesn't hire him because he's cool with Tom Thibodeau. That's going to bother me. And that's going to me, set a tone of where the Knicks are going.
And you know what?
If they hire Tom Thibodeau just because, they work together and they're friends.
The only thing I can say about that is we're never going to know.
Right.
If it's truly because that's his buddy, or if it's because, hey, I think this is the guy for the job. We're never going to know.
And you talk about that chemistry, Isaiah. that chemistry I would see that in Atkinson and Woodson. I don't know if I would see it too much in Woodson and Thibodeau, because Thibodeau's already,
Well, I think with Thibs, Thibs is an alpha male coach. He's an alpha male coach, and I think, and I believe. Well, see, Mike Woodson's kind of. See, Mike Woodson. I wouldn't say he's an alpha male coach because
here's the thing. Would Atkinson's seek more advice from Woodson than Thibodeau would? You see what I'm saying? In other words, I
see what you're saying.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's all I'm asking.
I could see Kenny. I could see Kenny leaning for advice when it comes to Mike Woodson. That would be. I could see that because again, I see Mike Woodson as my grandfather. Mike Woodson would be my grandfather, honestly, seriously, or my dad. They're probably the same age, but But I think it should be a 2-man race, and I just really hope the Knicks give Kenny the real shot because I really believe if we get him, we're heading towards the right direction.
Okay. All right. Let me get to a couple of super chats here. All right, and then we're gonna come back and talk about some of these dates, these NBA dates, because we have some dates on when some things might be going down.
Yes, sir.
Got some dates out there. All right. Big shout out to Justin Hernandez, who's actually in the chat with us. He said, "This is a team that has no one really knowing their roles or positions, and that's where Kenny Atkinson fits in. Was because of his developmental acumen, and I agree with him. A big shout out to Illy Gilly. Thank you for the super chat. And then M. Grady, you said great insight and analysis from everybody that's on here. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at some of these dates because we have, we got something to chew on finally, as far as the NBA is concerned. And before I do that, just real quick, there you go. Hashtag Kenny and Woody. See it on your screen. Hashtag Kenny and Woody. Some of you guys might not like it. I like it a lot, but we'll see what happens. And that's not supposed to be going that way.
Another black man.
Take that off the screen. There you go. That's an old video.
Hey, Sim, real
when it's
quick.
live, man, sometimes you have mistakes when it's live. But
Sim, real quick, let me ask this question. Now that the season for us is totally finished, so now we can actually hire this next coach now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Exactly. So here's dates. These are some important dates that are coming up. June 15th, international players return to markets. All right, so that's 10 days from now. June 21st, all players are going to report. So players that are playing are actually going to report. So you already know that only 22 teams or 23 teams are coming back to play. And they're going to have, and I actually have the schedule. We'll take a look at the schedule too. In the East, you got the top 8 teams and then the Washington Wizards. And then in the West, you got the top 8 teams and then there's a couple other teams. We'll take a look at that. All right. So where was I? All players report June 21st. June 22nd, coronavirus testing begins. June 30th, that's the beginning of training camps. July 7th, so they got a week of training camp. They'll travel to Orlando. July 31st, well, I guess they'll continue to have training camp until July 31st. Then the season will restart on July 31st. August 25th, that'll be the NBA draft lottery. So we'll find out where the Knicks will pick on August 25th. October the 12th, that's game 7th of the NBA Finals if it's necessary. Then 3 days after that, you got the NBA draft on October the 15th. Then 3 days after that, October 18th, is the start of free agency. November 10th, training camps for the 2020-2021 season begins. And then December 1st, you have opening night for the 2020-2021 season. So that means all of these rookies who are drafted, well, let me see, rookies will be drafted October the 15th. Training camp begins less than 30 days later. So there probably won't be any kind of summer league or anything like that for the guys who were drafted this year. So we're going to get a lot of NBA action in a little bit of time. Once it kicks off July 31st, it's going to be a lot of NBA action in a little bit of time. I don't know, man. What do you guys think about that? Let me get to a phone call first, and then I'm going to come to you guys. Let me get to a phone call, and then I'm going to come back to you. All right? Caller, you live on Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Yo, what's up, Tim?
What's going on, man? What do you think about the NBA schedule? You there?
I understand why they're doing it, but it like we were all hoping it was going to be a little bit sooner. It just seems like a long time away to wait for basketball, you know?
Well, I mean, you got to give them time so that they don't, so that they don't risk injury. You got to give them time to get back in shape and all that stuff.
It's just like, I don't know. And then I don't like the because maybe I just didn't understand how they were going to do the format. So how are the West teams going to play? Like, how is that all going to be? Because are the West teams going to play in the East or like?
I'm not sure. I'm not. I don't know where they're going to play. I guess they're all going to play in Orlando.
Oh, I know they're all going to play in Orlando, but I mean, like, how are they going to set up? Because it's like, I mean, I'm glad the Knicks are nowhere near this because I just think we need a lottery pick or the potential to have a high lottery pick. But I don't know. I just think we should have. I don't know. Anyways, sorry about that. I just lost train of thought. Anyways, and then the draft lottery. Did they explain when players salary, like the guys we have like Taj Gibson and all them? Did they explain when that was due?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure more stuff is going to come out. That's a really good question, though. So what he's asking is, guys like Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, Elfrid Payton, they all have contracts that become guaranteed June 28th. Right? If the Knicks do not waive them by June 28th, then their contracts become guaranteed. Given the fact that the Knicks aren't playing and their season is over, I think that date is still going to be in place. That's just what I think. Why would they extend it if the Knicks aren't playing? So I'm thinking that date is going to still be in place.
Yeah, but you got to think about other teams too. Like the Lakers, I'm pretty sure have players they want to get off their books, and or like teams that are actually in the playoffs.
True. True. That's true.
So how are they? I mean. They can't do it for them because then these guys they're going to be still playing if they do it June 28th. I mean, these guys are still in the playoffs.
They may come up with, now they could say that they're going to extend it until sometime, let me see, October the 12th is the last possible day of the NBA Finals, right? October the 12th, that's game 7 of the NBA Finals. So they could say something like October 28th. Right? Because normally midway through June is when the NBA Finals would have ended. Right? And so, June 28th was that date. So maybe they do like October the 28th. Or maybe they do October the 28th just for teams that are restarting their season. Hard to say.
What was the date for the free agency again?
Free agency, the start of free agency is October the 18th.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. I mean, even if you did it October 13th, like the last possible day of the finals, then the next day, everybody goes in, knocks these players down, and then you start free agency. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that's the only way you could actually do it, because if you did it any other time, it just wouldn't make sense. Yeah, and then I just wanted to touch on real quick. I know it's late. I think I'm one of the few guys who's still holding on, hoping Mike Miller gets the job. I mean,
I don't think it's happening, bro. Just being honest
no,
with you, man.
I know.
And
I think him not having the end of the season is the reason he's getting screwed. Because, I mean, we were 18. You know, if you look at his record, we were 18-27. I mean, under Mike Miller. I mean, he lost half a season just as the virus, and then, you know, before Fizdale. You know, with Fizdale. So, I mean, if we'd have won 31, 32 games this year, I don't think we'd be calling for his head. I don't think we'd be even having a coaching search.
I don't know, but I think that he's still going to be on staff. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I hope so. Because he deserves it. Because he took
yeah.
And then,
I think he's still going to be on staff. So
I think the guy on video chat, I don't know, the guy with the hat on.
State of the Knicks.
State of the Knicks. I was doing Kenny Atkinson, but I think he sold me on Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
I think defensively alone. I think.
Okay.
And
how do you feel about what the guy said about Mike Brown?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember seeing Mike. I don't remember anything good about Mike Brown without LeBron. You know.
I mean, he coached the Lakers to a winning record without LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, without Kobe. I mean, I don't know. You know, like, that's kind of why I don't want Kenny Atkinson, because, I mean, well, now, after listening to him, because, I mean, Kenny Atkinson didn't have New Jersey wasn't very good the year before last, you know. It's not like they were, like, building. He was, you know, they were in the lottery, I believe, and then they got D'Angelo Russell, who we know now is an all-star type talent. I mean, and then he got Kyrie and those guys, and they did the same thing.
You know, I mean, what you're saying is true, but I do believe that he built that up. You know, he helped to build. You know, obviously, any team is going to get new players, right? I mean, that's just going to happen. Any team is going to get better players. That's how your team gets better. But I do think that he was able to take a team that had limited assets and help them develop to be, you know, much better players.
I don't think that. I don't think
you don't
that's
think
the
so.
Case. No, because if you remember last season, New Jersey was right there with us last season, right there with us. I think they had a couple more. Yeah, and then because remember they didn't start with D'Angelo Russell because D'Angelo still had that snitch sent on him from the Lakers, so he was on the bench.
Oh, weren't they 41 and 41? Weren't they 41? Weren't they 41 and 41 last year, or something like that?
But you got to think they went on like a I think it was like a 18 or 17 or 18 game win streak when D'Angelo Russell started playing regular minutes and then eventually got the starter because I think they were real low. I mean, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I do remember New Jersey was a losing team when they were starting with LeVert and Dinwiddie. Then when they eventually put in D'Angelo Russell, they just went on a little tear. I mean, Joe Harris started shooting. That guy they traded to Minnesota, Hollis Jefferson, he was playing. That guy, the guy from Latvia.
So you're saying that it was more of. So you don't think that it was? You think it was more of okay? They did it that season. That's it. That's what you're saying.
I think he had D'Angelo Russell, and they won 41 games, and they were on the. You know, I mean, they got Kyrie Irving, and you know, I mean, a couple other ancillary characters, but you know, Karis LeVert was out this year, but Dinwiddie really stepped up. They had D'Angelo, what's his name? DJ. They picked him up from the Knicks. You know, I think, and they didn't win that. It's not like they were like a first or second seed. They're like a seventh. I think they're the seventh seed.
Right, they're the seventh seed. I mean, Kyrie only played about 16 games and no KD. So, I mean, I feel you. I don't know. I think that. I don't know. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go. All right, I'm gonna let you go because I want to get some.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. I don't know. I mean, is deciding to play and start D'Angelo Russell to the detriment of the coach? I mean, look, you got players. I don't know if you say, well, he didn't start winning until they put D'Angelo Russell in. Well, he made the decision to put D'Angelo Russell in. You know, I don't know. Let's take a look at the teams that are going to be playing when the season does resume and what their schedule is going to look like. These are the teams that are going to be playing. The Celtics will be playing the Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, Indiana Pacers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Miami Heat. And then you got the Milwaukee Bucks, the New Orleans Pelicans, Oklahoma City Thunder, Orlando Magic, Philadelphia 76ers, the Phoenix Suns, the Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, San Antonio Spurs, the Raptors, the Jazz, and the Washington Wizards. These are the teams that'll be playing, and you can see, what their schedule looks like. Got the schedule of each team. They're all going to be playing in one location in Orlando. So this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit crazy. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like. We'll see. Let me get to these guys up here, man. Fellas, it's going to be real different. I just unmuted everybody, so you might have to unmute yourself. It's going to be real different. Guillermo, what do you think, man? What do you think about all of this? I think you got to unmute yourself, man. Let me see. Unmute. I unmuted you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this, man. Again, I stay on the side. We should just cancel the season, man. This feels weird. I really don't know what we're trying to achieve. I know the Portland Trailblazers had an issue with this. I thought they voted against it or something like that happened. Or I don't know. It's just, I mean, what are we really going to try to achieve? Because again, a lot of these guys might be out of shape. A lot of these guys are not in playing shape, and then. What's the championship going to be? The play-in thing is.
Well, they're giving them a lot of time to get in shape, though. Right? They're giving them a good amount of time to get in shape. Training camp begins on July 31st. No, I'm sorry. They start playing July 31st. Training camp will begin on. Let me get that back over here. Training camp begins June 30th.
Right.
So they got a month before they start playing so that they can get back in shape.
Is it? I guess that's enough. I don't know. I just would rather, because then now I'm not sure if anybody's thinking long term, because now you have to push this, right? You have to push for next season. You have to kind of push that forward, and then also the Olympics. So then, I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming if they don't have when the season's going to end. They have opening night for the 2020-2021 season is December the 1st. That's opening night. That's pretty close. Pretty close to the normal opening night. Normally, opening night is about October 30th or something, somewhere around there. So it's a month away. So you're talking about missing 12 games, 12 to 15 games. Now, if they shorten the season by 12 to 15 games, right, then you can end at the same time that you would normally end. If they decide that they're going to play all 82 games, then the NBA Finals may end in July or something like that, July or August, and then if they restart in September, they'll be back. They'll be back on track. So who knows how that's going to go?
You sacrifice a full season next year to gain some numbers now, to gain some fans, or not. Ratings now versus, and then guys might get sick or hurt. I mean, I understand they get a month or whatever, but still, I don't know. It's weird. I'm not an athlete like that, so I can't really tell. Maybe they'll be fine. but then also COVID, maybe some guys still get sick, versus you cancel the season and then next year you have a nice clean slate and you could just play like you normally play the season.
Yeah, I think it's all about satisfying those TV contracts. Because the NBA, with those contracts, I think the NBA already has the money for this season. So I think it's about satisfying those TV contracts.
All right, yeah. And if someone could check a helmet, when is the next CBA? Because that might figure prominently. If the next CBA is soon, you want to make sure you can make good on some prorated version of the contract. Obviously, you're not playing full games, but it's not prorated. Excuse me, version of contracts. Yeah, I guess it's up. Hey, it's up to the players. If they want to do it, that's fine. I just take the season as like it's gonna always have an asterisk, and I know they're trying to make LeBron win it, so this ain't gonna count towards Jordan or nothing. So hey,
yeah. So it's we'll see. It's gonna be a little bit weird. It's gonna be crazy, and they're bunching a lot of stuff into a little bit of time.
Right.
A lot of stuff into a little bit of time, and of course, they're hoping that that's going to, bring a lot of ratings and a lot of talk. Because look, October 12th is the last game of the NBA Finals. October 15th, that's the NBA Draft. October 18th, that's the start of free agency. Bam, 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 that quick.
Bam, bam, bam.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's gonna be something.
The draft, about these players, it's gonna be a weird draft, man. Some guys are gonna be drafting some weird spots.
And then usually the draft is what, June.
June 25th or June 20th.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And then you get to see, some of your rookies play in July, and then you got to wait until September. Now they're gonna get drafted October the 5th. They're going to get drafted October the 15th, and then less than 30 days later, they'll be in training camp.
It's going to be harder for undrafted free agents to make the teams or have a chance to show anything, because the fact is that, unless they do their research on it, they're not really going to get to see these players play like in the summer league. So, I mean,
you can forget about summer league.
You're going to have to hit on your draft pretty good, because some teams they rely on those undrafted things, that could be a.
Can I say this? I think this plays into a lot of current players that's in the draft right now. I think it plays into their favor. For example, LaMelo Ball hasn't played organized sports since January. So he already got a head start for training his body for the NBA season. James Wiseman, he hasn't played basketball since last year. He got a head start training for this year's draft. So it's going to be very interesting as far as trades is concerned during the draft, because you got to think about how much the cap is going to be when this season is over. And you got to think about the contracts that's done June 28th. Who's going to be, who do you want to keep on your roster and who you don't want to keep on your roster? But they got to get those rating backs, and they got to get the money back from them not playing basketball the past 2 months. For sure.
I'll tell you what, though, State. Some of these kids not playing is going to benefit the Knicks, because a lot of players are going to fall that the Knicks probably weren't going to be able to even have an option of, because if there's no tournament and no summer league. Oh, well, they would have been picked. It's going to benefit the Knicks if there's no tournament. So there's going to be a lot of players.
I think you might have some players who might get overrated, because think about this. If the best thing they have, the most consistent thing they have is high school. And obviously they have some college
players are going to fall.
But they're going to be mixing a lot of stuff with high schools as well. And high school could be very misleading. Obviously, you're getting the ball 90% of the time. You're able to showcase yourself literally and look as good as you want. So I don't know. I think some guys, I don't know. Well, actually, I guess it fits what you're saying, right? If some guys are legit good, but maybe they need some more games, they fit better roles, maybe they might drop. But, depending on where the Knicks go,
I'm sold. I believe in conspiracies as far as the NBA draft lottery is concerned.
Of course, that's how we got Patrick Ewing.
sold that the Knicks is going to get a top 3 pick this year. I know. I feel it.
The 1 year where it's literally.
Hold on. Can I explain? When you think about it, right? Last year, when Anthony Davis asked for that trade, they already knew that they was going to give the Lakers a top 5 pick. Like, that was probably discussed months prior to that. They already knew. So what the NBA going to do? We're going to give the 2 smallest markets the first 2 picks, and we're going to give the Lakers the 4th pick just so they can complete that trade. It's all a money grab. When you look at the lottery this year, what teams you think going to benefit the most getting a top 3 pick? Off the top of my head, Minnesota, New York. That's just me. I think we're going to get a top 3 pick, and I'm putting my stamp on that. I'm good.
Yo, hold on. Wait, Sid. Can I say something, Sid?
Put my stamp on that.
Go ahead. Jump in there.
No way.
Sid, we do this every year. I remember in 2018.
We do. There's no lie. We do.
Sid, hold on.
Do what?
Sid, hold on, Sid. And I remember specifically Tony Crow. We were the 10th. We had the 10th.
Should I bet our team sucks?
We had the 10th best running to be the 10th pick. And I remember Tony Crow. Yeah, black is time. Yeah, I think the Knicks gonna get the number 1 pick. Yeah. So Sid, he was like, Sid, this was the Tony Crow. He was like, we got 1% chance, but we gonna get the pick. The Knicks, the NBA owns it. Stop. Listen, Knicks fans, I love us. We do this every draft year.
But NBA you gotta understand, Isaiah.
The NBA owns us. NBA was the number 1 pick. They do this every year, bro. If this was the
number 1 pick,
you gotta hear me out. It's all about the
Tony
storyline,
Crow
right?
Part 2.
It's all about
the lottery hates the New York Knicks. What do y'all not understand?
Oh, let him finish talking. Yeah, stay. Now,
it's all about the money play, right? It's all about the money play, right? So if it's all about the money play, and you Adam Silver, and you got the chance to give the 3 top 10 picks, top 3 picks to any teams in the NBA, and you think to yourself, who's going to give me the money grab? Think to yourself, Isaiah.
So
where would you send LaMelo Ball right now?
Let me expose you. Let me expose you, State. If that was the case, we would have got Zion.
And
Derrick Rose, the Chicago Bulls, but continue.
Adam Silver already said, I'm not here to help the Knicks. He
exactly. Thank you, Guarmo.
But he helped us last year.
Not really.
He helped us last year.
As much as I like RJ, if we had even the number 2 pick, that would have been astronomical because Ja Morant, again, is that type of.
He wasn't going to give us the number 2 pick.
Right. So you're talking about number 3. And don't know, I think RJ Barrett has developed.
Wait, he's not going to give us the number 2 pick. Why are you going to give us the number 1 pick?
Yeah,
hold on. Let me get to a call. Caller, you live on Up From Knicks. What's popping?
Yo, Black is time. Shout out to the chat. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on, man? How you feeling? You hear them talking greasy behind your back?
Yeah, I hear him. You know what though? I'm with State on this one. I'm with State. I think it's gonna be Chicago in that mix too. If we talking like him, it's the Knicks, Minnesota, and Chicago. But
that's the grab.
There's a couple things. These players' contracts that's expiring or that they got team options on, they're gonna have to push that. They're gonna have to push that back for everybody. I think at least until maybe a day or 2 before free agency, because these contracts are set up that way so teams have the option to trade that player, and then the team who's taking them could not pick up the option. You know what I mean? And so they have to make that still work.
So okay, so you're saying you think it has to be then October 28th maybe is probably the date then.
Well, it might even be a little bit earlier than that, maybe like the 18th or something.
Wait a minute.
Still in the mix. It's still in the mix of free agency.
Yeah, that's right. I'm tripping. That's right. It has to be. So it would have to be like if Game 7 of the NBA Finals end October the 12th, then it would have to be something like anywhere between October 12th and October the 17th. Because you're right, it has to be done before free agency. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't want these players to become free agents at a inopportune time for them.
Right.
If the player option isn't picked up, and you want the Knicks to have the option to, let's say, trade Bobby Portis, absorb someone else's contract. Let's say if we were doing that Chris Paul thing, we would use that money to absorb the contract.
Right.
OKC has the option to not pick up the option.
To not pick it up. So then they would have to do it somewhere between October 15th. You're right. It had to be somewhere between October 16th. So it would have to be like October 16th, October 17th, one of those dates, because the draft is on October the 15th. Free agency begins October the 18th, though. Because during the draft, you can make some trades. So those guys could be traded during the draft. So, yeah, it would have to be like October 16th, October 17th. One of those 2 dates.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Have to be that way.
That first call you got, was it talk about Mike Brown?
Yeah.
Very, very, very intriguing. I hear a lot of people saying, well, he had LeBron James. This wasn't MVP LeBron James. This wasn't best player in the NBA LeBron James. You know what I mean? So you got to take that into account as well. You know what I mean? It's still not good to. I mean, it's not easy to win games and make the playoffs with, let's say, one star, and he did it. You know what I mean? So. Yes, it was LeBron James, but it wasn't MVP LeBron. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't championship. Like, I know how to win the championship LeBron. You got him there, but you know what I mean. So you take that into account. I think that was a intriguing coaching option. I think the Knicks need to open the door. Like, we have an opportunity right now with this big layoff. To expand the coaching search and look everywhere. You might get blown away by an interview that may not even been your top choice. And I think they'll do their due diligence. I really do. And then as far as the 3 coaches that we were discussing, if it is Tibbs, I would have to think he's changed his ways as far as – I don't even think it was running players into the ground as far as the games. I think it was the practice. And I think the NBA as a whole has changed to where, it's not run that way. He was accustomed to – I don't think he was an abnormal coach as far as running heavy practices. I think there was a few guys out there like that. Pat Riley. Matter of fact, you might argue that Pat Riley is still like that, or at least the organization is still like that. You know what I mean? And you hear it from the players. They don't like it, but they respect it. They don't not like it enough to not want to be in Miami. You know what I mean? Or it's only built for certain players. So if he's going to bring in an environment where it's only built for certain players, I'm going to appreciate that. That being said, I still like Kenny Atkinson. I might have Miller over Atkinson, though. The only thing about Miller is you haven't really heard anything from the current players. Saying how much they like them.
Right. Well, I'm assuming that they probably hadn't done exit interviews yet either. So now that the season is officially over, there'll probably be some exit interviews, and there's probably going to be some stuff to come out based on those exit interviews.
Agreed. And I like Mike Woodson too, man. I think he got a raw deal. I think Phil should have gave him a fair shot. Like you mentioned, a lot of injuries that last year with Woodson. He did a phenomenal job with JR. A lot of the things that State was saying about Tibbs, I think you could also argue about Woodson. Good, like disciplinary coach, but not like vulgar. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, that's the thing with Mike Woodson that I think he is a disciplinarian type of guy, but he can also, he can do it without crushing your confidence.
Yes.
I just think I like Mike Woodson. I like Mike Woodson. I just think his best role, if he was going to be with the Knicks, is probably going to be an assistant.
I would argue that as well, but I also love the fact that he's not afraid to go back as an assistant, which means he's not afraid to go back and learn. So you know what I mean? I would like to see what he picked up from Doc.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that's what Tibbs has been arguing, talking about. He's been going from organization to organization as a spectator and picking other coaches' brains. So, I mean, I got to take his word on that. I don't think he would just say that, especially naming the organizations that he's spent time with, where it could be fact checked.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I just hope they do a long coaching search. I hope they take, now that we know the dates and the times and how much time we got, I hope they look everywhere and do.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like they may not have been doing anything in person, but I think they were probably making calls, talking to some people, during this entire time. I think they might have been. You know what I mean? I really think they might have been, and I think we might hear something sooner than we think.
You think
about
so?
a head coach? I think so. I think we might hear something sooner than we think in regards to a head coach. I don't think it's going to be, August, you know what I mean, that we're hearing a head coach. I think it's going to be sooner than that. Now, it does give them some extra time because the draft is not until October. So, it does give them some time to really figure things out and put things together.
I think that's going to work in our favor. I mean, the media is what the media is. So, they're going to have to work around that, but I think time is on their side. Another thing I heard, they were talking about the season starting on Christmas Day. They pushed it forward to the 1st because of the Olympics. So they definitely want to, they don't want to, the season to be on while the Olympics is going. So that's why they pushed it up to the 1st.
Yeah.
And they're talking about doing some type of mini training camp for the teams that are out of the playoffs, so they don't have like this. This would be like, it's already been a longer layoff than the regular off season would have been as of right now. So they don't want to put these teams at an unfair advantage of not playing basketball until October or whenever the training camp starts.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to listen out for.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Tony, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna let these guys. I knew you was on the phone. I seen it. I was like, yep. Tony's on the phone. Isaiah's talking greasy. Watch this. I already knew.
Little did he know. But yeah, Yo Black is tired. Shout out to the chat. Slim, keep doing your thing.
Appreciate you, man.
What?
Appreciate you. Peace. All right, let me get one more phone call, and I'm going to get back to the chat, man, and then I'm heading off. So, it's the last phone call of the night. Caller, you live on Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, what's up, sir? Thanks for taking my call, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Initially, I wanted to say to you, on a serious note, I was watching you talking about some of the stuff going on, and you referenced the Dolan and the whole mess with the letter. I thought that was great wisdom, and I thought you were very sober in your assessment. And I think the type of thing that a lot of people need to listen to. So I wanted to commend you for that. I thought it was excellent.
Thank you.
That piece you did earlier in the week. Regarding the coaching, I'm glad to hear that Woodson is at least being considered, because I think it demonstrates that Leon Rose is conducting a comprehensive search, right? Because you heard, if you listen to media reports, Tom Thibodeau was the man 6 days ago. And now, you're hearing other names, and it tells me that, the Knicks are conducting a comprehensive search. And I don't think they can go wrong with a Thibodeau or a Woodson type. Both of those men have proven success over time in a variety of roles. I don't know about Atkinson. I know he's been assisted a lot, a few places, including here in New York. Obviously, had the head job in Brooklyn, but something turned off somebody, and I have to imagine that the Nets already knew that Atkinson was going to have a problem with Kyrie and or Durant before they, when they brought those guys in. Just to think about Atkinson, he flamed out so quickly that he concerns me, and I think we need a proven hand. So I think that a Thibodeau or a Woodson or someone of those lines wouldn't be a bad decision. We're in a rebuild, but I think that having someone who's been around the block might be the best thing for these young guys, and even for vets. Those are two men who've been around the block, and that's not to suggest no one else can get a job, but those two names they make me feel better than Atkinson. Hey, listen, man, thanks for taking my call. Have a great evening.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. All right, that was the last call tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get over here to the chat. Get a couple of last words in. A lot of stuff, I guess. I don't know. Whoever wants to go, man, can start us off with some last words. Nate, you can go ahead.
All right. So I know a lot of people are on the bandwagon of Kenny Atkinson. My question is, the biggest problem with this Knicks team is defense. Our defense is just bad. Like, it's been bad for a long time. And I felt like, around the middle of the season, you could argue that the Knicks and the Nets defense was around the same. And I don't know what the final standings are as far as defensive ranking. It's kind of hard with this whole suspension of the season, so I don't know how they would be able to grade it. But, I mean, if we get Atkinson as coach, are you confident that the defense will be better?
I mean, look, I feel like this. I feel like with Kenny Atkinson, I feel that he has a team-oriented style of play on the offensive side and the defensive side. And yes, I think the defense will get better because he will preach a team defensive style of play. I think it'll get better.
Better than Mike Miller's defense? I mean, Mike Miller's defense.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We went through a stretch where we played very well, and Mike Miller might still be on the coaching staff.
But Nate, you got to remember, Nate, look at Kenny Atkinson's coach. Look at his players. Jared Allen played defense, but Kyrie doesn't play defense. Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't play defense. Chris LeVert was coming from an injury. DeAndre Jordan doesn't play defense anymore. He's old. I mean, you gotta take him part of his roster. His roster wasn't that good defensively, so you got to put that into play.
I mean, just Kenny Atkinson, for me, has never been known as a defensive-minded coach, whereas Tibbs has been. Yes, he had one hiccup with Minnesota, but if you look at all the other teams he's coached with.
This is Kenny Atkinson's first with the Nets. Was his first time being a head coach, right?
Yeah, it's the first coaching, but it's his first coaching stint.
What I'm saying is I've never really heard the word defensive-minded with him. Maybe he's more offensive-minded. It's not like his offense. He's got more offensive ideas.
But Nate, look at his. But Nate, look what he inherited. He had one of the worst rosters in the league.
Yeah, man.
Literally one of the worst rosters in the league. Like after that Nets Boston trade, come on now, you gotta give him credit. He had undrafted players in late second rounders and second rounders. That's what he had on the team.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I just we need a defensive minded coach first and foremost because, I mean, you win with defense.
When Kenny Atkinson took over, the Nets were 20-62. His first year as coach, they were 20-62. The next year, they were 28-54. Season after that, they were 42-40. You know, that's building from the ground up right there. Now, obviously, last season, they were 30-34. Well, this season, they were 30-34, but, you know, you got to factor in everything with Kyrie and KD and all of that stuff.
Well, this will be the last thing I'll say about tonight is, like, if he does become the Knicks head coach, my God, can somebody get him a decent suit? Because the guy looks like he's dressed for a funeral every time.
I don't know.
I'm serious, man.
I never paid attention to his suit.
I mean, you look like you dressed for a funeral, man. I mean, seriously, give him a nice solid suit. Go tell him to talk to Walt Clyde. I'm sure that gives something.
All right, Nate must got some fly suits in the closet. You must got some fly suits in the closet.
Hey man, I don't look
your
like
joints must be
that's for sure.
Steve, you know, like you put Steve Harvey to shame. You put Clyde and Steve to shame.
You gotta look good and play good. Feel good.
Really? All right, who wants to take us out, man? Hey,
Gimmo could go.
Gimmo, you there? I mean, your thing shows that you're unmuted. I don't know what's going on.
You gotta mute yourself. You gotta click the top button, bro.
You're
the top
unmuted.
Button on the. I guess I'll go, Sam. I'll go.
Go ahead, Isaiah. But yeah, over here you're unmuted.
Yeah, Gilmo, you gotta look at the top. You gotta click on the Zoom. It should be mute, stop, video, share, and participate.
Oh my God, my favorite part.
Yeah. So Sam, great show tonight, man. I think I know we all had our opinions on who we want. For the most part, I think me, you, Gilmo, we want Kenny Atkinson, and I think State want Kenny Atkinson. I forgot.
State thinks Thibodeau's the guy.
Oh, okay. So he's with Nate. Never mind. All right. So so he's with Nate. So yeah. No, good show tonight. Again, hashtag Kenny and Woody. That's what we want. I'm so excited, Sam, to, I know some people have mixed feelings about it, but I'm excited to see some basketball, man. I'm excited, man. I want to see something, man. And I'm excited also, so we know the next dates of what's going to be important. So what is it, August 25th, the lottery, to find out where we at?
Yes, it's August something. I forgot. I got to go back and check it out.
I'm gonna say this. August 25th.
August 25th is the NBA draft lottery.
August 25th, the New York Knicks are gonna get the fourth pick. The fourth pick, but look at this. We're gonna get the fourth pick, but LeVar's gonna push LaMelo to the Knicks. Guaranteed. You heard it here. We're gonna get the fourth pick. LeVar's gonna push LaMelo to the Knicks.
Okay.
Like Charles Barkley say, I guarantee it. The fourth pick, everybody. The fourth pick.
All right. You say the fourth pick. We'll see. Hey, I'll be all right with the fourth pick. You get the fourth pick. You get the fourth pick. You can maneuver. Then you can maneuver, but see.
The fourth pick's in the fourth pick.
State, you there? I don't know what's up. I got you unmuted, bro. So I don't know what's happening. All participants are unmuted. I don't know. So I guess we can't get no last words from him because I can't hear him. Well, I guess we'll figure this out. We're using a new platform. Because this platform gives us a little bit better quality. So, You know, obviously you guys heard it. We're using the Zoom platform or trying it out, trying to get some better quality because the whereby was doing some things. So, you know, we still got to figure out a couple of the quirks, I guess. You know, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for taking the time. And remember, if you support it, man, hashtag Kenny and Woody. I'm out of here. Talk to you guys soon, man. Peace.